There are two games that have been speculated for so long for the Nintendo Switch that they've basically became a urban legend. But recently, something has happened that made people start to believe that it might be finally time for one of these games to become reality. So that is what we're going to be talking about today. To start off this video, let's start by looking at where this rumor originates from, because this isn't really a new rumor. Back in 2022, a key figure by the name of Jeff Grubb, who is a known industry insider, hinted at the fact that he had heard that Nintendo was planning on porting The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD to Switch. So for the rest of 2022, a lot of Nintendo YouTubers started to speculate over the fact of, a twin pack of Zelda games could be coming to Switch. A lot of them kind of rallying around the fact that it would make sense to release these games ahead of Tears of the Kingdom, because, Nintendo could use these to build hype around Tears of the Kingdom and build momentum for the game, as though this game isn't a sequel to the best-selling Zelda game of all time to begin with, and there was already plenty of hype regardless of these games coming out or not. But either way, it didn't happen in 2022, so a lot of people thought, hey, maybe they'll be able to release these games sometime in 2023, but Tears of the Kingdom was pushed over to 2023, originally supposed to be coming out in 2022, so it never necessarily made all that much sense to release 2 or even 3 Legend of Zelda games, that is, if Twilight Princess HD and Wind Waker HD made it to Switch in that same year. But then after that, 2023 came and went, and still no signs of these HD ports. And now this year in 2024, it would kind of make sense because Nintendo did say that they wanted to release a new Zelda-related thing every year. But the thing is, they kind of already did that because they already released The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Plus, at this point, it's been 2 years that people have been speculating about these games, and a lot of people are just plain out tired of hearing about them. But despite this rumor fatigue, I personally didn't give up on these games. And now, more than ever, it seems like these games are actually going to be revealed soon. But the reason why I believe these games are still going to be happening is because of what is currently happening. Recently on Twitter, there has been a revival of an infamous Nintendo leaker. The leaker goes by the name of Samus Hunter, and they kind of had a shaky history where they would get some stuff right, some stuff wrong, but ultimately people just, did what they do and they point and laughed, and eventually they stopped posting. But recently, they started posting again, and every time since they posted, they've been correct. To which, to their credit, is something that would be very hard to just guess would happen. Then they also teased the announcement for Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, and in their most recent tweet, they hinted 2 things. Something Donkey Kong related and something Legend of Zelda related. And they also stated that the Donkey Kong thing was not something to do with the game. And then later on today, at the time of me recording this of course, we will be getting a Nintendo Direct focused on Super Nintendo World, the Donkey Kong expansion. So the only thing that is left to speculate about this post is the first image, to which Samus Hunter has already said that people successfully guessed in the comments, so technically the answer is already out there. But as I scroll through the tweet, I see 3 games popping up consistently. The first one, and the one I feel is the least likely, is the Ocarina of Time remake. I understand why people would say this, it's something that people have been speculating for a little bit now, but even though a fellow Nintendo YouTuber by the name of Andres Restart has already really been championing this idea, I personally don't believe the time is right for something like that at the moment, and I'm pretty sure that he would probably agree as well. The next game people have been speculating, and the one I feel like the tweet is more likely to be a nod to, is Silksong. People have been saying Silksong because, again, there's the spider in the back, with the spider web, Silk, and Link is playing a song. I personally probably never would have came up with that conclusion, but once somebody points it out, yeah, I see it. But personally, I feel like that's something that's going to be happening at the Game Awards, but something else happened recently makes me feel like the third most speculated game under that tweet is actually happening soon. And that game, of course, is The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD. Basically, a Russian game store by the name of videoigr.net has listed Wind Waker HD for the Nintendo Switch, sparking speculation about its release. I would say one thing of note to keep in mind is that technically Nintendo does not operate in Russia, however that doesn't mean that the games don't make their way to Russia. For instance, this game store has already kind of leaked out 2 games for Switch just last year even, so it's not like it's completely off of the table, but I did think it was important to note. And last, and certainly least in this case, there's also Pyoro. Because after Pyoro got exposed on how they got their leaks, they took a hiatus. And recently, they've kind of just been doing just random things on their Twitter page that ultimately do end up meaning something. And recently, they did update their banner of the Alarmo, where they kind of just made it like wavy. And of course, Wind Waker is all about sailing the seas, the waves, like, I don't know, it could totally mean that, but at the same time, if it doesn't mean that, I wouldn't be shocked either, so I don't want to put too much credibility in that thing specifically. But again, I just thought I would point it out. But now it's my turn to share my thoughts, and personally, I think that if this is your first time here, hey, my name's Acadrien, and I post weekly Nintendo videos just like this, so if you've been enjoying what you've been seeing so far, I would greatly appreciate it if you would just simply consider to like and subscribe. But with that out of the way, let's go right back into the video. Of course, it is worth mentioning that nothing is ever official until Nintendo themselves say it. But that being said, I feel like there's a lot of things right now pointing towards that this is probably going to be happening soon. And I don't necessarily even think we have to wait for a February Direct, because the more I've been thinking about it, the less I think we're even going to be getting a February Direct. Because over the past few weeks, we've been just going through a Twitter Direct. Because it seems like almost every week Nintendo just has something to post online, and not just like a little teaser of a game that already exists. They've been really dropping substantial things. First we had the Alarmo, then there was a playtest, then Nintendo Music, and then Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. Then just yesterday they teased that today we were going to be having a Super Nintendo World Direct, so I really don't think they're going to be stopping anytime soon. And what I suspect is happening is, instead of having your typical Nintendo Direct where they kind of condense all the hype together, since Nintendo's been very quiet for the most part this year, I think they're really trying to extend the hype, just drip feeding it, as a way to keep hype and momentum on the Switch going, at least for its last leg, you know what I mean? And even though a lot of people were speculating that this was going to be a twin pack, I also think it just makes so much more sense for it to be individually sold. Because if you look at Pikmin 1+2, yeah, that was a twin pack, but those games aren't very long. So overall, when you put them together, it you have a bit more of a value there. But in the time that it's going to take you to beat Pikmin 1 and 2, that's probably around the same amount of time, if not even a little bit less, than the time you would spend trying to beat The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD. And of course, it goes without saying that if they sell it individually, they get to sell it twice. Big shocker, I know. Plus that way, it means they get to keep Twilight Princess HD in their back pocket so they can release on the Switch later, meaning they get to expand the life of the Switch just, a teensy bit longer. But now I'm curious to know what you guys think. Do you guys think that The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD will be coming to Switch anytime soon? Let me know down in the comments. And until next time, Warao.